It's the Regular Folk Talk Show podcast, where we talk with regular folks about their opinions and perspectives on life and current events. With me always is Anthony and Radu, and we're glad that you tuned in. Hi, thank you again for joining us here at Three Minds, One Mic. We do have another special guest this week. We have brought Janessa on with us, and we are excited to get to talking with her and learn about her, and we just want you to welcome us. As always, Radu is here, Anthony is here. How are you guys today?
Good, how are you?
Doing good.
Doing all right. A little worried about our snowstorm we're supposed to get from tonight until tomorrow night. We'll see how that pans out.
Yeah.
I know the foothills is going to get a lot worse, but without any further ado, Ms. Janessa, how are you today?
I'm very well. How are you guys doing? So excited to be here. Thank you for inviting me. Such an honor. Look at these handsome gentlemen that I get to hang out with today. Like, how could I be upset despite the fact that all this snow is supposed to fall on down?
That's right. We'll the thought of our faces can keep you warm throughout the whole thing.
As it has.
Good. Well, thank you for being on the show. I do appreciate it. I know you usually got a lot going on, and so just kind of give us an idea of where you're at now with things and how's life treating you and what you got in the works.
Sure. So we'll go ahead and do a introduction to my professional background. So as eloquently introduced as Janessa Ruiz, I'm officially the drone and operations instructor for a company called True North. They're a construction solutions company, and I get to basically travel all over the country and fly really amazing flight profiles to do critical infrastructure inspections. Mainly right now, our contracts are through telecoms. But when I'm not flying those critical infrastructures to zip around on top of remote mountains in the middle of nowhere, I do actually get to teach other pilots how to fly our profiles and get them just about as excited as I am to go and do such really awesome and critical work. So that's what I do for my 9 to 5. On the side, I also own two businesses. One of them is a production company. So I'm the director and producer of Thunder Rust Media. We're a local media production company that basically tackles just about any kind of media solutions that are needed for any kind of company, but we specifically work with 501c3s, charitable organizations to provide either low cost or no cost video production. It's a big honor. One of my biggest clients is the Special Olympics New Mexico. Their state conference is coming up beginning of February, and my company for the last 5 years has been the one that shoots their conference. So it's just a huge blast. They do insist that they pay me, despite the fact that I tell them that they don't. But when they cut me a check, all that really does is either go back into more equipment so I can make the next year's production that much better, or I bring on students or interns and I make sure that they get a good day rate to pay for their education as they learn how to deal with real life large scale productions. So either way, I do what I can to give back in the community with that. You know, I'm a very lucky individual who's found a lot of successes, and those successes came on the backs and the support of individuals who believed in me at critical times in my life. So I just want to pay that forward and maybe give someone new in the industry a chance to spread their wings and grow. You know, because you don't know what you don't know, and there's a lot of learning that happens on live productions. Secondary to that, I also own Sky of Enchantment Drone School. I'm the lead instructor there. It's a drone school that teaches all the way from basic flight mechanics all the way to the enterprise level for organizations to build out their operational objectives so that they could implement their own drone programs. I work with not just first responding agencies, but also in agencies that you guys most likely wouldn't even think of that are looking to utilize drones in their operations. Last year, we had the honor of being able to teach the New Mexico Rural Water Association all their tank inspectors. We got to teach them and put them through a basic flight mechanics class, and they got to get hands-on with the drone. And you just saw those gears turning during that class, and they were just spouting out a whole bunch of examples of how and why they can implement drones into their operational objectives. And it was a really fun course, and it was also a very diverse set of individuals who attended the class. So you got to see the young and the old both putting hands on drones and just having a great time. In fact, I did a drone. I had a class yesterday. It was a 2-day class. It was a basic flight mechanics class. There was media professionals that were in there. There was IT tech individuals that were in that, and then we also had a gentleman who I had coined, and he will not be bothered one bit that I let this out, but I was calling him a South Valley hillbilly. He was just someone who grew up in the same neck of the woods that I did. You know, we're similar age, and we just, you know, back from the school of hard knocks, and he loves hunting and whatnot. So, but you saw again during this class, you know, I have my school's philosophy is just to incite and create that aha moment in people, so that when they're learning something new, they're excited about it, and they come to that conclusion in their own right to make it make sense in their head, so that they could apply those principles in whatever they feel like they're going to be doing going forward in the future. So the class was immensely successful. It was a lot of fun, and we finished off with flying right before. Like yeah, it was great. So I think that's what I do on I get on a professional level. So we'll just put a little pin in that one, and you guys know where I take a drink of tea to refresh.
So it sounded like you have 3 separate businesses going on: the production company, the drone, the school, and then also there was something else.
True North is, you know, it's a separate company. I'm actually a salaried employee for them, so it's not my company. Okay. I'm just their drone operations and training specialist. So I just nice. Okay. I serve my role with them and very dutifully as best as I can, and I love the travel that it comes with. So they're a great company.
Yeah. Awesome. And then being with the drone instructing, that's fantastic. I mean, you're looking to inspire, especially as an instructor, teacher, you're looking to inspire your students, and it sounds like that's exactly what you're doing, like giving them these aha moments and be like, oh wow, I didn't know I could do that. I didn't know these were capable of doing that. Now I know how to make that happen. So that's actually very exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the thing is that our airspace is regulated by the Federal Airspace Aviation, FAA. It's regulated by the FAA, and Federal Aviation Administration. Thank you. Sorry, I didn't drink enough tea today. And you know, they come up with rules for how people are legally allowed to fly drones within the United States. A lot of people don't understand that just because you buy a little tiny small drone, that you're able to fly legally, and it's not true. Even drones that are under the regulated 249 grams require the pilot to have what's called a trust certification, which basically is just like a little ground school that gives them the ins and outs of how you operate within that space, and lets you know that you have to you need to register yourself before you even lift off. So it's, you know, it's anything an inch above a blade of grass is federal airspace, and as soon as you do that, you're absolutely required to follow those aviation rules. So if you know anybody who's kind of like dinking around with little tiny Temu drones, just let them know that to give me a call, and I'll make sure they're squared away. Because, you know, like it's not just about, you know, hammering down rules. And I tell my students, like, I'm not your mom. You guys are going to go out there and you're going to fly, and you're going to gain your experience, and you're going to start moving on up in your drone career and your drone journey. But the more equipped they are with the knowledge to do it right, the less reason the FAA has to come up with new rules and new laws for us to have to abide by. So if we all sit there and do our part and do the right thing right now, we don't have to worry about something crazy coming down the pipeline. So, you know, that's always the goal.
So if I go out to Walmart and get a drone, little flying thing, it's illegal for me to fly it in my yard? I mean, not
without a trust cert, and for you to register yourself as a recreational flyer under the FAA's drone zone.
I had no idea. I've broken the law a couple of times then already.
Well, theoretically, right? Because we don't want that going out in the public space.
Allegedly.
It's a good thought experiment. This experiment you put out.
Water fluid drone.
Yeah, who would have thought, right?
I'm sure there's a statute of limitations on that.
So Part 107 wasn't established until 2016. So before that, it was really like any kind of drone, not as we know it, was like radio controlled airplanes and little tiny helicopters, right? Like the technology just really wasn't as abundant as it exists today. You know, with the added have access to stuff that was normally and consumers could have access to stuff that was normally professional and or military grade. We start getting access to these tools and, may not always use them like we're supposed to. So.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Leave it to humanity to do that. Oh, here's something from nature. Oh, let's tweak it and make it worse. Wow, that's awesome. See, there's just so much. On the previous show, we had this one guy on talking about everything is gray, and it's like, it really is. There is no black and white. Like you look at something, and there's such a world beneath it, like involved. It's on its own thing. That we never know exactly how much we don't know until some knowledge is dropped, and like, my goodness. So the Special Olympics, that's coming up in February, you said?
Yes, I believe it is the 4th through the 6th. Yes, that's correct. So it's their state conference. It is the conference where they celebrate all the organizations that had raised money for the organization throughout the year. They put on a banquet dinner, an award ceremony, and it's just an opportunity for people to get recognized for their charitable actions, being philanthropic and all, and I think it's a good thing to showcase and have an opportunity to make a little bit of awareness that the Special Olympics does accept organizations to fundraise for them for what I feel is like a really incredible cause. And not only that, but there's more of a ceremonial aspect of it too. So the Special Olympics also pairs with the law enforcement torch run. And if any of you guys have ever seen like a Special Olympics event or gone to any the Special Olympics, actual Special Olympics, there's a torch that's carried throughout that entire time, carried by athletes, and that journey starts and ends every year at the state conference. So we get to see the torch being brought in as the closing of the year, and then we get to see it taken out as it begins the next season. So it's like a huge honor to be able to document that for them and film that for them and blast it out to their socials, as well as catalog it and keep stuff like that very special for them. So it's just a great event. As you can tell, I get all gushy about it because it's just so cool. So
yeah, it sounds amazing, like in so many ways. I mean, it's just, wow, that's cool that you get to experience that, be part of it, and even bring light to it, because I had no idea that stuff goes on. I mean, I've heard of the Special Olympics. I don't think I've ever seen one.
Yeah, and I get to bring in students who are inclined to learn production and let them learn some of the rigors. I mean, I had a pretty good, interesting story last year. My student was from LA Film School. He was a summa cum laude graduate of film and production, and it was really interesting. He was a gentleman who was longer in the tooth and seemingly had a little bit more experience than the average person, and he had a lot of business acumen, but there was a big culture shock that he experienced because everything that he had done up until that point was relatively sanitized. He had 2 weeks to get a project in. He had all the top equipment to do it and film it with, and he had instructors and videos and a lot of stuff that gave him the A, B, C, and D flow path to make sure all that could get done. And then, when you deal with the live production, there's so many variables that could come into play. We had one interview scheduled, and all of a sudden by the end of the first day, they're like, well, we need to throw 5 more in there. So now we're rapidly filming and editing these things on the fly. The venue's electrical system couldn't handle me running the equipment that I was, and we triggered the breaker about 3 times. I had to bring in a large auxiliary battery to combat and be able to have enough time for all my equipment to stay up and running while someone went and tripped the breaker for the event. There was no audio, so the night of setup after midnight, we were calling around and finally got a hold of a DJ who brought in speakers for us to do that, and it just overwhelmed him. And it was such on, like, you have to think on the fly, because there are quite a few complexity that comes in to make sure everything is working copacetic, that one little thing could throw it off, and you got to have a level head during that whole time. It was a cool part, was awesome for me to play a role in allowing him to kind of see that and show how to troubleshoot it and make a good production regardless of whatever else is going on. So it's
Nice.
always a good opportunity. Yeah.
Sounds like it. And yeah, that having that ability to do things on the fly, think quick on your toes, come up with solutions, right away when these problems occur. That's definitely not something everybody can do. So I can definitely see you leading on that and taking that on, because I don't think I've ever seen you frazzled. And you've done you've worked with some, with people. Ever since I've known you, you've been working with people, from the casino to fire to what you're doing now. So you definitely you definitely belong in those environments where quick wit and very very calm demeanor is needed. But
Well,
I think you can go the opposite way on that too. I
I,
haven't
I,
pissed you off yet, but I'd be
I,
worried too.
I appreciate that. And for all those who are watching, when he said I've worked with fire, I'm not a pyromaniac. I was a firefighter with Bernalillo County Fire, and gladly served up my community in in many roles. And as I was
That's what all pyros say.
yeah, but I was their public information officer. I was also a production coordinator. I was their drone coordinator as well, so I got to develop both of those teams and educate firefighters in both of those capacities. And so in the field as an apparatus engineer. So I was the one who drove the big fat fire truck, and it was really awesome.
Nice. That is dope.
That's cool.
So all these experiences, I mean, how do you chill? What do you do to chill? Like, because it almost sounds like this kind of stuff gets you going. I mean, that's like your default is just be on the go, just constantly looking for ways ways to make things better, ways to do things differently. Yeah.
So
What do you do for?
I think that's a very interesting question. I think I have answered that actually multiple times this week, because this is like when stuff starts stacking up, and like I got the school and then the conference that's coming around the corner. But I think for me, and I think for me, working in these capacities, right, where I'm kind of giving back wherever I can, or I'm teaching people, that kind of refills my cup. The school, I write all the PowerPoints for it. I set up the classes. It's something that's well within my control. And at the end of the day, when I see that everything's successful and I get that great feedback or that tactile feedback that everything was inspirational and fun, and they learn stuff and they want to grow and all that other stuff, like that kind of resets the button for me. I know when I was like heavy into like production, because I've filmed a TV show, I've filmed a pilot, I've done a docu-series, like I've done some really cool stuff. I've done remotes for NBC, like I've done stuff for local networks here, like I've done some really cool stuff. And for the things that are pre-planned, and it takes a lot of work on the front end before cameras are even set up, right? It's hard, it's difficult, it's frustrating. You're working with bureaucracy of whether you're working with an agency or a dignitary, right? Because I've done stuff also with politicians, and all that, like it all becomes worth it, like because now cameras are there, we have our subject in their one position, I have sound rolling, I have everything waiting on one singular call, and that's for me to say action. And that moment right before, where everything just comes to a calm still, and everyone's waiting just on me to say one thing to put my whole vision together, that there's nothing like it. There's nothing I mean, I've done crazy stuff with fire as a firefighter. I was a pole vaulter in high school, so I mean, I'm kind of adrenaline junkie, but there's nothing.
I knew it.
Yeah, there's just nothing that's more satisfying than that quiet moment. And I think to I guess make this answer that much even longer, when I need to separate myself from the technology, from the hustle and bustle, I also own a horse. So I have a 5-year-old Appaloosa.
Nice.
His name is Skeeter. He's a very stubborn dude, and he keeps my attention on him because horses can hurt you, and I'm in the middle of breaking him, and the goal is to get him trained for equine search and rescue in fire. But doing that training and being pulled away from the computer and a microphone and cameras and teaching, that's so far I'm so far removed from all that sometimes like it just that I guess maybe that's more of a direct answer to your question. But I wouldn't say that it refills my cup. It just separates me and gives me time to kind of hit the reset button.
Right. No, understandable. Seeing your plans and all your work come to fruition, I could totally understand that. And it is very satisfying, and it does recharge you, get you ready for the next thing. But yeah, having that disconnect too has to be powerful as well. I mean, even though you're still focused, your mind is still going, you're dealing with Skeeter and making sure he's not going to kill you anytime soon. But still, you're in nature, you're away, you're just directing you and Skeeter. You know what I mean? You're not directing a panel, you're not. So that's got to be kind of cool too in its own right.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? Guys, you have anything to add?
Like drones and everything, was it through the fire department?
That is a really good question. So to answer that, so I started getting into drones, yes, through the fire department. So I was in the middle of developing my production team, and this really entailed me teaching firefighters the finer points of production. The exposure triangle, framing a shot, what equipment does what. And in the midst of that, having a really supportive executive staff, the chief of operations had approached me and said, he's like, would you be interested in getting your Part 107 license? It's required to fly the drones. The department has invested heavily in these, and we just don't want them to go to waste. And we think the production team, it'd be really necessary that you would get your 107 so that we could fly them legally. And I said, yeah, absolutely. Right. Like, I'm always up for a new challenge. I thought it sounded really fun, and I'm all about doing everything the right way. So he sent me to an online, or he set up an online course for me so that I could go through and earn or go through the different academic aspects of it and learn how to be a good pilot. And I tested and got my 107, which was really awesome. And
what is that?
So 14 CFR Part 107 is effectively an FAA regulation that oversees all the different components of what is and is not allowed to be conducted when you do small unmanned aircraft operations. So your 107 is, I think I have my wallet around here. Possibly, yeah, right here. So your 107, and this is something that will probably surprise a lot of other people who are in the uninitiated, but it is actually an actual pilot's license.
Wow.
So
it's very cool.
It's a stone's throw away from other aviational check marks or boxes that need to be checked to get your full manned pilot's license. And so I'm missing some hours and probably about like 10-15 more hours of just some online education. But yeah, I'm not too far away from if I wanted to go that route to be an actual pilot. So but anyways, get back to it. So I got my 107. He also sent me through a online school, or an in-person school called Drone University, to get my flight mastery and some videography training, or aerial videography training. I went through that, and from there, I was offered a position as an instructor for Drone University. They were impressed with my academic prowess and aptitude and my ability to, I guess, speak, which is with. And I got to travel and train for them. I got to do one of the most notable pieces of work or pieces of training that I got to be part of was actually flying out in Juneau and work National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration to help them develop their operational objectives and teach their employees how to fly a drone. So they were excited because they wanted to implement some of this stuff for whale tracking. So it was really cool. So that started my journey in teaching. And when I came back and I explained to my when I came back and I got to implement some of this stuff for production, the chief of operations says, what are your thoughts on teaching some of these other guys to get their 107? We wanted the Masu crew to do it, and we think your production guys could also benefit from it. It's like, sure. So I taught 30 hose draggers how to get their 107. Every single one of them passed on their first try. And from that, they were like, well, I think, chief of operations, again, immensely supportive, said, would you be interested in putting together a drone team? He's like, can you put together what your vision of a team would look like for Bernalillo County Fire? I said, sure. And I did my presentation to top brass, and they said, sold. And then I had a drone team, so 13 pilots underneath my belt, three other individuals that were on a waiting list. And I got to develop and establish some more involved operational objectives for our department. I got to work some really big fires. I got to interface with agencies like the Department of Homeland Security to discuss and develop some other items, state search and rescue, quite a few things. And it just bolstered my interest in it, and never thought it was going to be a regular day-to-day thing. I was picking up some contract work on the side through a company that just reaches out to just nearby pilots, and they liked my assets quite a bit. And then they offered to bring me in a more permanent role as in their telecoms vertical. I went through the training, and it was just an offer too good to refuse. I don't work for them anymore. I don't mind sharing how well I did, but because there's a bit of a wow factor with it, I worked 2 weeks on with them and 2 weeks off, and within that time frame, I would make $10,000 to $12,000.
Wow!
So it was, it wasn't the easiest work in the world. There was a lot of complex items or complex learning curves that I had to, sort out as someone who is effectively just being sent in the middle of nowhere with a couple of codes, and you're going on private property or U.S. Forest Service, or you're getting lost in the middle of nowhere and a snowstorm hits in. I had to learn a lot of it, good, valuable things, and the resources and tools that I learned from being in search and rescue for fire actually helped carry over. So the vehicle that I take is very well equipped to get me through, and if I need a bug out for a couple of days because I blow a tire, an engine goes, or anything else like that, I have the capabilities of being able to do that. So there's a lot more to it, but it was such a great.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Wow. So what was Alaska like? How long were you there for?
I was there for a week.
Okay.
I was there for a week.
Was it all work, or did you explore a little bit?
So we had 1 day of time, and it was actually I'm an avid climber, and so again carried search and rescue at the department as well. And when I have like a life goal that I want to climb or at least rappel in every state in the union. And out there in Alaska, I took all of my climbing equipment, and we went out to Seaside. It's a kind of a pretty predominant climbing area for enthusiasts out in that way. So we went to Seaside, and it was basically 120-foot just sheer drop, and you anchor onto this tree that had kind of bowed out to the side, and you anchor right there, and you just rappel down, and then you climb up the rock face and hope that you have the skills to pull yourself up, because there was a little bit of a muscle ups on some of those. So
wow.
But yeah, so that was beautiful. I actually got some pretty amazing footage while I was out there. So
dude, that is dope. That's cool as
hell. Yeah, I actually got a photograph of a bear while I was out there too. So
wow.
Yeah.
Well, you're welcome to share anything if you want.
Okay, yeah.
Put it up on the screen share.
Give me a second.
Pictures.
Yeah. Hold on. Hang tight. Let's get that bear image out there. This was Mama Bear, which was really, really cool.
Whoa.
So there's Mama Bear right there. She was probably about as far as you were away from that cabinet that's behind you, Mike. She was just,
my goodness.
Yeah, she was just hanging out, staring at me. So it was a really awesome opportunity, and again, you just don't want to miss it when it's there. And so I had a camera handy anyway, and it was just her cub was probably, well, I forgot we got to flip. The camera, the bear was probably about 5 foot this way in the picture, and
okay.
you would think that she'd be a little bit more aggressive, but she was just puttering around our cabin.
You're non-threatening. We're good.
Yeah, you're nothing I
cool.
need to worry about. So, but yeah, and I talked about.
I would need to change my pants, I think, if I encountered that.
That's awesome.
Mama bear.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. It really was. So.
It's got to be humbling though too. I mean, I know in the years past I've been up to the foothills and even on the crest, and you look over Albuquerque, and it's like it's amazing. You know, the city's an amazing place, but one little tremor, one little thing. I mean, nature can just obliterate us at any time. You know, but it doesn't. Obviously, it's just very humbling. You know, so even being around a creature like that, they could just maul you within seconds, and you're getting a picture of it, hanging out with it, kind of. You know, just watching it go on its merry way. That's got to be really life affirming.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Yeah,
so cool.
No doubt. If the class is willing, I got the video of. I was able to find the video of the seaside area. Do you guys want to see ocean or the? Well, actually, no. This one will play out just fine. So stand by.
Wow.
So that was a little island. I wasn't daring trying to get to, but that was a little island that was there, and you'll see me kind of loop around. But yeah, I mean, one of the cool things about traveling is that I get to see some of the most amazing landscapes out there, and for me, as a as a professional in the media space, you know, when you have the opportunity to catch something that's so breathtaking, if you don't take advantage of it, you're missing out. And you know, I don't like to live my life through a lens. I don't know what poltergeist is going on with my light. I don't like to live my life through a lens per se, but it's times like this where you just have to stop and capture the moment. So this is definitely one of them. And then
yeah, but even then you're not through because you're there. I mean, you got the drone doing that, right? Flying around, checking everything out, but you're there, so you're not just going through the lens. It's like an added feature to your life.
Yeah,
like I'm here and I got this lens.
You know, actually, like, so I'm pretty sure I'm the one who's flying this. The other drone U instructor was out there with me. So if you see me climbing, it's the other instructor, or it might not. It might be me, but nonetheless. Nope, that's me flying right there. There I am. That's a seaside cliff that we were at. And there's the other instructor. Yep. So it was
wow, very cool.
Yeah, it was all super cool. So it was a really awesome moment. For me, I'm very excited about checking this, and Alaska right away was really cool.
Wow, yeah.
But one more. This was recent. Seconds.
Show.
Oh, man. Is it? We have you guys. We gonna switch real quick. Want to do some?
You're not that show. Almost. Speaking of, when this is on, send me to your Twitter, YouTube. Talk about that when you're done video here. You got some traffic moving your way as well, maybe.
Oh, you know, like for me, really, like, I used to, you know, really go out of the way to try to cultivate an audience, but now the goal really is just anytime I stream, it's for the purposes of it's for the purposes of just making sure I'm testing equipment before what's it called, before like a conference or so. But let me shut up so you guys can enjoy this.
And what is this?
This is Angel Fire, New Mexico.
Oh, yeah. Gorgeous up there.
So.
And when was this? When did you? When was this video?
This was during the last snowstorm that had came through.
Okay. Did you just get Angel Fire, or did you? Isn't that like, what is that called? The Enchanted Loop or the Enchanted Circle? It's up there. It's got Red River and Angel Fire.
Yeah, so Angel Fire was it definitely technically fell into most of Angel Fire. So the goal is that so this is for Roadrunner Tours. Excuse me, it's a ranch that's owned by Nancy Birch out there. And happily, my daughter is one of the wranglers out there, so she takes people on horse tours. And while she was out there, I went with her, and just we were starting the day at like 07, and decided like, well, this cool inversion sitting there right in the valley, and decided to jump in and or launch the drone. And the drone was very, very angry with me because it was -2 degrees, and it was I was getting a bunch of cold weather errors. The battery wasn't wanting to just have the drone lift off, and the controller, I've never seen this. The controller said that it is too cold for the controller. I was inside the car, and it was still too cold for it. So yeah, well, there you go. See that inversion right there? I think that for me, that's the money share.
For sure.
Just like it was really, really cool. So anyone who's going up to Angel Fire, you guys go check them out. They're really cool. They're nice people, great work, and they do great things for the community as well. So go check them out.
Nancy Birch.
I believe so. Kind of get you right there. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
Sure does.
Cool. Include that on there too.
And then my daughter could take you guys on a little tour. So, but I'll take Skeeter up there from time to time, to go out and just ride with her. So it's just, how can it be upset to go riding that beauty? So.
Right.
That's awesome. So much fun, excitement, and adventures.
Yeah, absolutely. And I try. The way that there's a couple of life philosophies that I think at my age, which I'm early 40s, so I know I'm not long in the tooth, but and I said it earlier, like people, I've had the benefit of individuals giving me their time or their energy to, at a cost to them to further my education or or to give me some encouragement, or to even help me realize that I can accomplish things that most often times you don't think that you have the capability to do so. So at the end of the day, I want to try to give it back as much as I possibly can. And so it's just, it's my time to give back. And that's what the goal is. And then also, we don't know how much time we have left this day, in my life. Like, I'm past the I'm able and can do anything part. And, I have to worry about a little bit of self-preservation. So it's dialing back on some of the craziness, but also amplifying some of those experiences, and taking time to like just stop and look around and just like realize like what I get to see in my True North. I get some of the most remote places, and even as sometimes I'm one of maybe a dozen footprints that are in there. And I'm sitting there flying a $60,000 drone as it's like hovering over, and I have my dog with me, who's, you probably guys have seen her like wander back and forth. But I'm over there flying a drone, tossing a little toy for her, and I'm sitting in this forest that maybe one or two surveyors had kind of been in, and I'm just luckiest person in the whole wide world, and I just take it all in. I just, I really try to enjoy moments like that where I get these views that not everyone has the opportunity to be able to see. So
especially in person.
Yeah. Well, here's another one right here. This was out in near San Francisco in California. I got to go out there, and I got on top of this hill that was an absolutely restricted, there's plenty of footprints up there because there was some construction, but in order to get past a certain point, you had to have access via the city and planning council and a whole bunch of other stuff. So it was quite a journey to make that happen. But I got there early in the morning, and I got to capture the sunrise with another inversion out there, and it's just like, it's just real cool to put eyes on something like that, because not many people do. And I'm probably going to say the same thing over and over again. I don't mean to, but
no, it's
yeah,
relevant. So yeah, you're
so
absolutely right. So you said it a couple times now. What do you mean the inversion?
inversion.
that?
So a cloud inversion or fog.
Oh,
So
okay.
it was fog. So it was.
It's kind of neat being above the clouds then.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
cool.
It's like it could tell. That goes to show you how high it really was. So
Right.
this was on the Colorado-Oklahoma border. So I was catching a sunset this time rather than a sunrise, and was out there for that, and that was really cool. And I might have one more. Oh yeah, this will be the last one before. If you guys want to move on to something else. So this was out in Red River. So
okay. Yeah, Red River's gorgeous. I love Red River.
Yeah, it was absolutely amazing. So let's go ahead and get rid of me right there. So yeah, so look at that. How freaking cool is that? Just those blues. It was amazing. So
yeah, people say we have some of the bluest skies here. Like they don't see our color blue.
Hands down. I had this orange sunrise from outside of Navajo Lake that I captured as well.
Oh, wow.
And then I have a yellow sunrise from. I have two separate ones where I just kind of emphasize the coloration of it. But have you guys ever heard of this place called Hawaii by chance? Maybe
I might have once or twice.
Yes.
You might.
I think it came up in a conversation.
Yeah, once or twice.
It sounds familiar.
So that was a sunrise out in Kokoloa Bay.
Wow, that's not a lot of color. That's interesting.
Yeah. So, but I had a lot of purples on that one. There was a hero shot of mine. See me holding the drone. Then once the sun actually came up, those purples turned to yellow. So I got the whole.
That is interesting.
Isn't that cool? But
that is very cool.
But that's photography, and then again, like I'm lucky because I get to travel and get to see stuff like that.
So what's next? What's coming up next? Obviously, we have the conference for the Special Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
What else you got going on? What's the
next 2 months for Janessa? You know what? Nothing else after that. One of the other charitable organizations that I work with is 1082. They work with law enforcement and fire personnel in their time and help them in their time of need. So they need help with groceries, car repair bill, or to help a family in worst case scenarios where there's a loss of life in the line of duty. That organization will come in and provide financial support for those individuals or the family in their time of need. And every year they do a Brawl in the Bosque, firefighter versus law enforcement boxing match. And,
right. Okay.
Yep. And my production company does low cost production for them, where I go to wherever those fighters are training, whether it's outside their house or in a professional gym, and I interview the coach and I interview the athlete, and I basically create kind of like a hype reel for them for to kind of log that moment in time in their career, or before the fight, to see how cocky or excited they are about it.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's a cool thing. I have text messages from them where the athletes are just super excited because now it's something they can look back even after they retire. And I've participated in the Brawl in the Bosque myself. I have 2 fights on my card because I am an amateur boxer, but 2 of those fights are from the Brawl in the Bosque because it was a sanctioned event from the commission, and I was a main event for my last fight, and I went up against a girl who was she knew how to pack a wallop, and I have nothing but respect for her, but I got the win. So
nice. Right on.
So so it's a great organization to work for. So the videos that I do, I only charge them $50 a video. So, and I mean, that's me driving out there, doing sound and video and audio, and then doing the editing process. And then I handle the socials from there. So I actually do the upload schedule, and I do it all the way up until like before the night of the fight. So I do all that for them, and I do it for low cost because I want to, I don't want to take money from the organization when that organization is doing such big things for the community. So
good. But yeah, and it's good that you're still getting some kind of compensation for your time.
Well, you know,
It's a small amount.
again, it just goes back to paying
It's about-
students if I could, but that should be the next project that I have going on. I don't think I have anything. I might have a speaking role at a conference for the Rural Water Association. I've done it the last 2 years, so waiting to see if they want me to come back again next year. And then the New Mexico Firefighter Training Academy. I got invited to put together a drone training session for the organization so they could offer it during their fire and EMS expo. So we could provide an educational component with regards to drones for for the attendees. And I'm kind of hoping, as far as big picture stuff, that because I still, I have all these certs through NFPA, which is National Fire Prevention Agency, and I am an adjunct for the training academy and a level 2 instructor for them. That's the goal is put together the standard in New Mexico for drone operations and first responding to law enforcement. So I'm hoping that I'm able to be a voice to kind of put those protocols or that training together so that other adjuncts could go all throughout New Mexico and teach other first responding agencies these protocols and safe ways to fly from an awareness ops to a tech 1 and a tech 2 level class.
So, wow. So you're setting this, you're helping get the standards set and relate to everybody. Is that
not yet? That's okay. If there's anything that qualifies as what's next for Janessa, that's going to be it. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. That's okay. Why not? Yeah.
Why not? Cool. My Tuesday's free.
Let's go set some standards, damn it. I'm on it.
Yeah, I'm a busy person. So, but I mean, that's time is fleeting, right? Like why waste it? I mean, Netflix is always going to be there. If I could, when I was in the casino industry, I was, you do 30-minute downs and you're on 3 tables and then you're on a break for 30 minutes. So it's, you're on 30 minutes, 30 minutes, 30 minutes. And you effectively have an hour and a half worth of breaks on any given day. And there was a moment where I was kind of just looking around and watching everyone in the employee dining room, and they're all on their phone, sitting there, doing who knows what they were doing to their phone. I don't ask questions, and I'm like, what a waste of time. And some of the most affluent clientele were those of the Vietnamese background. And I figured, I'm like, well, why am I going to do the same thing everyone else is doing, waste my time playing video games when I can learn a new language? So I taught myself Vietnamese and was able to actually have dialogue with these with a section of our players that none of us really could do. And I learned a lot about the culture. I was able to play a role of sometimes decoding what was going on the table or translating for whenever something needed to get sorted out between the floor supervisor and the player, if there was ever kind of any misaction. And, it's kind of a user to lose it with language, and I don't have many people to speak Vietnamese to with. But apparently in a drunken state out in Las Vegas during my nephew's 21st birthday, I remembered all of it and was having the grandest time with the dealer when we were playing on the dollar table. So, so it's in there somewhere.
And it was coherent. That's even better.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Apparently her and I became best friends towards the end of the night. We were both just laughing our butts off. So, but like I said, like what, like, there's times when I think there's downtime, there's time to spend with your family, there's time to enhance your career, but for me, like, downtime just it seems trivial more than necessary, and the fact that I still have enough gas in the tank to maintain all these different things that I have going on, I don't know why I need to stop. I mean, like, I have a therapist that I talk to on a regular basis, and she kind of asks the same question. She's like, when is enough for you? And I was like, I haven't reached it yet. And as soon as I guess I find out, I'll pull back at that point in time. But, I talk to her because I have a therapist because, like, I want to be mentally healthy. My family, there's a family history of panic attacks and agoraphobia, and I got struck with panic attacks in the fire department, and that was kind of an eye-opener that health could be fleeting. But instead of making me feel as though like, well, I need to really dial it back and reduce those, no, I got a psychiatric medical alert dog who lets me know when my like the situation or whatever's going on, whatever wires got messed up there is starting to go haywire, and she lets me know I need to remove myself from the situation or go seek medical help because I was starting to have syncopatic episodes from it and just passing out randomly. So that dog allows me to maintain the course, right? So instead of letting that be the catalyst to doing nothing, I let it inspire me to figure out how do I make it work. Like I'm 40 or 42. Like I can't do as many pull-ups as I used to, and I'm not physically as active as I was. But it just allowed me to learn different techniques and to go about things more slowly and to understand that I do have limits. The horse was a great thing, but I've broken my foot recently because it got caught up in the stirrup and got torqued real funny.
Ouch.
So it's broken 3 places. But when my daughter's first day at the ranch, when she was doing her first escort, like I know because I've ridden for so long that I can apply a different means to ride that horse and not put the pressure on that foot. And I was still able to ride very comfortably throughout the snow. And it was just absolutely amazing. So to me, like when I run into a problem, or when I run into a limitation, it's not a flag telling me to slow down. It is the catalyst of adaptation and overcoming stuff that shouldn't be overcame. Like when I got to be a speaker at a Women in Unconventional Train conferences for 2 years in a row that CNM was putting on. It was an honor to be able to do that. And well, I'm a female myself, and being in fire was difficult at times, and sometimes it was some of the males that were causing some of the issues. But that was never the focus of any of my dialogue that I relayed. What I was always trying to relay to people who were interested in involving themselves in such a dangerous and fulfilling career was that you can. Because a lot of people don't understand, they never hear it that you can do it. That it's possible, but them themselves may have never heard that. They may have never heard that from a spouse or a friend or a family member or anywhere else like that. So I really hammered down the point. You can do it. You may not do it in the capacity that Joe Schmo who could bench 400 pounds can, but you could do it in your own way. And there's the testing that they do is all for the same goal. Can you pull someone out in a fire when you need to? Do you have the aptitude to understand the different dynamics of how fire grows and changes? Do you understand that water is one of the chemical compounds that absorbs the most heat and is readily available and doesn't have toxic effects, right? There's so many other aspects to firefighting, and there's this invisible limiter that some people put in front of them and says, like, I shouldn't be doing that, right? But you can. You can. And obviously there's a limit to everything, but you can until you can't, I guess. Maybe I'll modify
it. Well, you're right. I mean, you can until you can't. And then I think you have a very healthy approach to it, as opposed to being like discouraged and be like, oh, I can't. You look for ways around it. And I don't do that enough in my life. And so I would even venture out to say a lot of people don't. We hit these barriers, and it's a lot of just disappointment in ourselves, and we usually personalize those things too. But to have an outlook that you're like, okay, this is a barrier, this is a new thing in my life that I have to work around, and you find ways to work around it, as opposed to making that the thing and then making everything work around that, which I'm actually kind of guilty of, and I'm trying to come out of that myself. So that's very inspirational and very awesome and you don't do it for that reason. That's just how you operate. That's how you view things. That's how you look at the world. But to me, to someone, that doesn't, that's very inspirational and very helpful in looking at things in a different way.
Well,
to carry on and not get defeated by discouragement so much. So that's fantastic.
If you haven't heard it in a while, Mike, you can do it. You got it.
Yeah. I'm not trying to be a firefighter, so I'm not going that route. 50 years old and barely walk. So I do know my limitations are there, but there's plenty of other things I can do. So, which actually prompted this whole thing is because I'm a talker, I'm a listener, and this is my forte. This is my strength here. And it's like, well, I can't move furniture like I used to. You know, I can't do stuff I used to be able to do. So let me figure something else out. This has been amazing and fun for me.
No, good.
So it's really neat.
Yeah, I
It's
want to
taken me a
end.
long time to get there. You know, if I did that in my 20s and 30s and thought that way, it might be a little different.
Well, I was gonna, you know, and I'm glad that you kind of mentioned all that. It's really cool to see your co-hosts here. How is it that this group came to be? I mean, what was the catalyst for this conglomeration of sorts?
Well, me and Anthony have talked about doing podcasts before, mostly criticizing movies because we would watch Star Trek and Star Wars, and we're Star Wars fans. So we'd watch them over and just start critiquing the heck out of things. We're like, man, we're funny. We should get on a podcast. We should do this and just kind of BS and do that kind of stuff. And never really did nothing about it. And then Radu, I've just known for a long time. He's a computer guy. He's a tech whiz, and he's my oldest friend. I mean, one of my best friends ever. I've known him since I was 18, 17, 18 years old, you know, and we've been in touch ever since. So when I lived in New York. And so I got a tech guy and I got a co-host and another co-host now because Reddy's like, well, I want to be on it too. I'm like, all right, we're going to do this. So here we are. And this is in the way I operate, this is so much better than for me to just be on camera by myself, saying stuff, doing stuff. I definitely need the interaction, and these guys were very graceful to accept it and say, yeah, let's do it. Let's jump on it. And then every guest I invite is also just as gracious to come on and take the time to share and talk. And it's just been wonderful. It's learning a lot of stuff and making those stronger connections, which is really what I'm all about.
Well, cool. Well, if I could interview some of your interviewers, Radu, what do you do for a living? Like, tell me about yourself. What are some of those things that I need to know?
Originally, I'm from Romania, so I was born in Romania and I lived there until I was about 13. We moved to the U.S. in New York, Long Island. I don't know if you're familiar with the New York area. It's about an hour and a half east of the city. And I lived there for maybe 20 years or so. Recently moved to Northern Virginia, close to DC, because I work in DC. I work for a trade organization in the pulp and paper industry. It doesn't sound very exciting. And
I'm on edge. No, keep going.
I do statistics for this trade organization. So we collect data, we put out reports, exciting stuff.
Spreadsheets.
Spreadsheets, yes.
Oh, tell me more.
Right? I don't know. I got goosebumps.
Sure. So what is it? So in my experience, when we get transplants from outside of New Mexico here, it's usually propagated from a few similar things. It was either relationship or job. Which one of those brought you here?
Brought me to
New Mexico,
the United States. Oh,
are you not in New Mexico? So
no, yeah, I'm on the East Coast. I'm in Virginia.
I'm learning everything now. Okay, yeah. So you're 2 hours ahead then, presumably.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
All right. That makes more sense. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, so it was a job that took you out that way.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
But originally it was family that brought me to New York, to the United States.
And so when you say when they say you're the tech guy, what's your background in tech? Are you kind of just an enthusiast, or did you put together some backdoor security protocols for cybersecurity for the NSA?
Not that advanced, no. I did study computer science, but this video stuff is all new to me, so I'm learning along with some things. So we're kind of learning together, but I have a bit of computer background.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I appreciate the hard work that you're doing to make this happen, so that I look all good. So let me go ahead and fix that in post. How many times do you hear that?
Well, Mike does the post, so he did his job.
So to me, as someone who's been in video production, when I was working with firefighters, they'd always get frustrated and do like a second or third take, right? And they don't understand that like the extra 2 minutes that to rerun this shot is going to save me hours in post having to line up dialogue or to fix a like a bad framing issue or anything else like that that prompted it. So podcasting, I do love podcasting. I've been on quite a few of them for other podcasters, and I like to say, like, it is an honor that you guys thought of me for this. I know you guys could have invited anyone that's probably a little bit more adorable or funnier, but I appreciate that you guys brought me on. So I thank you for the hard work that you do. So
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, and we are very much in the beginning of stuff. I mean, the stuff that we do is very rudimentary, and definitely like to learn more, but it's working for what we need right now. And but yeah, we might be hitting you up for some trade secrets now that you've exposed yourself and wanted to be all giving back to people. So we might take advantage of that.
Sure, why not? Like I'm all about that. Up until someone takes advantage of that kindness.
Right.
Well, Anthony. So now I'm gonna turn my focus onto Anthony. All right, we got to talk about this hair, buddy.
Ooh, what's wrong with it?
Nothing's wrong with it. What was the inspiration to grow it as you have? Do you like put it in man bun status, or what's?
Every day at work, it's in a man bun. Yeah.
Okay.
I started learning guitar 3 years ago or so, and just I guess guitar skills, long hair, and it was just a thing that we were all doing, me and my bandmate. So I just it's a thing, and I liked it. I liked the way it looked as it started getting longer and longer. So like, okay, I'm gonna keep it. And
yeah.
I can't picture myself with short hair now, honestly.
Well, that leads to more questions. First off, where do you work at?
Yeah, I'm working at a sawmill market.
Okay.
I work at a poke restaurant there.
Okay, that's pretty cool. And then for your band, what kind of music you guys play? I mean, I see the posters in the background, but so that gives me a little bit of an idea. But what kind of music do you guys play?
Old movies. Heavy metal. It's a heavy metal band.
What?
So so very just classic, like Metallica, kind of Pantera, Black Sabbath, just stuff like that. Older stuff, not very modern, contemporary stuff.
Okay, so as you probably know, then metal is rooted in classical music.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so have you got that? Do you incorporate a lot of galloping beats in your music?
Well,
the stuff
definitely.
That you write?
It's we do have some like interesting type of picking patterns. I wouldn't say necessarily galloping in some of them, but for sure. I don't know. I haven't learned too much about the classical. I know about some of Bach's early pieces are basically like. Other than that, I'm not too like. I haven't applied it to my skill set, if that makes
Yeah, no, I gotcha. So I play music as well. I play rhythm guitar for a band 10 Hours All Right. We did this, or we played probably together about 15 years ago. Cut a couple of tracks, did a couple of live shows, and it was a lot of fun. But my genre of choice to learn under was blues, because we were more of kind of like a garage, a little bit more guttural, alternative sound. And so I wanted to learn as much as I could. And I learned about how blues is rooted in the pentatonic scale and how to navigate all those, and where I'm putting my finger on that fretboard whenever I'm wanting to kind of sustain a note, because blues is all about evoking an emotion with not necessarily fancy finger play, but a well-timed piece and sustained notes. So that's really cool that you are aware of where the roots are with that. Have you guys cut any tracks? You have anything that you guys promote? Did you plan on going on stage so I could go down there and like throw some like roses or anything on the stage or something like that?
Or tomatoes.
Or tomatoes. I don't want to throw tomatoes, but yes.
No. So we do have music out. Yes, we made a demo. Right now my bandmates are just me and my other guitarist.
Okay.
We had a bass. We have a bassist now, actually, a newer guy, but we don't have a drummer. Drums are very essential to music, especially metal.
Backbone of the band. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. So it's been very hard just finding somebody to drum for us. So for the demo, I picked up the drums. I learned them, and I got an E-kit, and so I played drums, I played rhythm guitar, and then I do vocals.
Super wicked, man.
And
Super wicked.
yeah, it was really cool. We did the demo. It came out in May last year, 25, and that was fun. I'm very proud of that demo. I think just for two guys in a bedroom, applause. Sounds good.
That should be your band name. That should, you guys. Well, so I joke, right? But my band's name back then was 10 Hours All Right, and it came from that we started off from playing rock band. We had a rock band, and when rock band was at its height of popularity, in my house, I built an 11 by 11 foot, 2 foot tall baseball diamond stage, where we had we split the monitor feeds so anyone who was playing could see what they're supposed to play, and then there was a monitor behind so everyone who was watching, and we had huge rock band parties, and in those rock band parties, like, the thing was that we invited people, bring your rock band friends, and you guys could all jam up, and we had the fog and light kit that was an extra peripheral, and we had the full pro scene, so we had the full pro setup, so we had the keytar, we had the 2 extra backup mics, and we had the pro drum kit. So you had all those different pieces kind of working, and we probably, like, by the 3rd or 4th big party that we did, we were getting a lot of fanfare, and we ended up kind of being the quote unquote headliners of the night, and we just we were getting suggested that we should pick up the real thing, because the band obviously had really good chemistry, and we should capitalize on that. And so we did. So my brother got me a guitar that he got in some random drug trade, and the drummer bought a $50 drum kit off eBay, because you could buy that at that cheap way back then. And the singer, she was just an amazingly talented lyricist. And we had in both of our individual times, we had about 10 hours of practice under our belt, and we're like, all right, let's all get together and see what that sounds like. And in a spare room in my house, I'm sitting there coming up with the riff, and the drummer kind of jumps in and joins me. The singer's like, hold that beat, you guys, scribble, scribble, scribble. First song was written. And so we played it for a couple of our buddies to get their opinion, and they're like, well, after 10 hours, you guys sound all right. And it was like, that's the name of our band name. 10 Hours All Right. Like, it's just so 2 guys in a bedroom.
That's fine.
I love it. So I'm trying to find at least a still on this, but I'm not finding it. But I have since I played, I've learned how to play the harmonica. I could play bass guitar. I could play the drums. I could play the piano now. So your musical journey, like, as you expand and do stuff, like, once you kind of understand music theory in that sense, and putting together a song and understanding those different components and why certain things are necessary, and why you want to put an interlude right here,
right?
All of that, like, it comes together. But vibing with bandmates, I will tell you, is essential. You could always bring someone in who knows how to play drums, but if they just don't get it, or just jive with you, don't waste your time, man. Because I've played with some people who were amazing, like guitarists and drummers, and we couldn't make anything together, and we wasted a lot of time. No, that stuff kind of matters. So, but that's really, really cool. So you need to send me one of those songs so I could hear it. Definitely. Is there any vocals in it? Are you a screamo?
Not screamo. I don't know how to explain it. My attempt at singing, I guess.
Okay.
The band name is Bombardier.
Bombardier?
Yeah.
Okay. Does that stand or mean anything in particular?
Not particularly. No.
Okay.
Looked cool. I mean, my bandmate really likes planes and stuff. He's on the planes and fighter planes, bomber planes and stuff. Okay. So I sent him like the idea. He's like, oh, it's cool. And then once we made the logo too, we're like, okay, that's gonna be it, because the logo looked cool. But, yeah, that's it.
Well, that's awesome, Mike. Have you gotten to listen to some of this music? Are you super proud of your kiddo?
Absolutely, yeah. I have all 4 songs on my save list that he did on his demo. So yeah, I'm very proud of him. And what's interesting and really funny too, 5 songs? I'm sorry. There's 5 songs, and I have all 5 of them on my playlist.
That's fine.
What's really awesome is he practiced here. Yes, we're gonna edit that out. So it's really cool is he practiced here. You know, he would practice in the garage, and I would hear him sing and play, and it was pretty awesome. But when I heard him on the demo, I was like, "That's you singing?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Nothing special?" Or he's like, "No." I was like, "It's very impressive."
You
couldn't be
just
prouder,
double track
so.
them. You just layer them.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I can definitely share some with you and send them to you. So you can check
Yeah,
them out.
I would love to hear them. I would absolutely love to hear them. So, but yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
just super proud. You know, there's something he wanted to do. He got into it really fast, and it became an instant passion for him. And he's following it. He's making it happen, and it's very cool.
what's your axe's name?
I'm sorry.
What's your axe's name? Jaden. What kind of guitar is it?
My axe. I thought you meant like my axe is in my lead guitars.
No.
My guitar. I don't really have a name. I have a Black Explorer.
Name that thing, man.
I don't have names for my guitars. One of them is named the V. I mean, because it's a V, so it's a very simple name, I guess. But
okay.
I guess this is the black one. I call it the Harley because it's a Harley Benton brand.
Ooh, dang, man.
Just like solid black, you know. And yeah, it's fun. I play rhythm guitar, I write the riffs and stuff, and I like it.
Like, way awesome, man. Well, cool. Well, that is so good to know, man. And it's so crazy because I've known you since you were so young, and to kind of see you grow up and where your interest lies and how all that is kind of evolved. Because effectively, right, like us individuals who are not you on this podcast that are longer in tooth, right, we could probably all agree that you're just starting your journey, right, and that world is open to you, and you have a lot more doors open to you than there is to us right now, just because of our age being a limiting factor. But go big, go hard, man. As long as you're not hurting anyone else, go freaking explore and do big things, because I mean, now's the time to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It
time
takes
to take the risks.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you guys go on stage anywhere, you got to let me know. I'll be the first one to buy the tickets.
Absolutely. Everybody will know. Bradu will know, and he'll be in Virginia.
Yeah. Yeah, right on. That's super cool.
Thank you for joining us, Janessa. What a pleasure to have you on. And we definitely would like to keep it open to have you on again some other time, if you'd be okay with that.
Sure thing. Why not? This was fun.
It was. Radu, Anthony, thank you again for everything you guys do. And until next week, see you next time.
Adios.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.